Emergence from the shadows. The Galactic Concord had ruled the stars for centuries, spreading across 17 sectors and encompassing over 400 habitable worlds. Its massive fleets patrolled trade routes while diplomats and governors maintained order across vastly different species and cultures. For nearly 8 decades, the Concord had enjoyed unprecedented peace and prosperity. 8 decades since humanity had vanished from the galaxy. On the observation deck of Nexus Station, the gleaming jewel of Concord space, Admiral Thenkoven sipped his morning stimulant as he watched transport vessels glide between massive orbital platforms. The Veskarian's iridescent scales shimmered in the light of the binary stars that illuminated this system. As military governor of the Nexus sector, he commanded the most advanced defensive fleet in known space. "Another glorious day in the Concord," he rumbled to his aide. The young Veskarian bowed respectfully. "Indeed, Admiral." Although security reports unusual readings from the outer detection grid. Coven's crest flattened slightly. "Define unusual." "Unknown energy signatures, sir. Possibly a sensor malfunction." Before Coven could respond, the observation deck's viewports automatically polarized as a brilliant flash lit up the space beyond. Emergency klaxons wailed throughout the station. "Report." Coven barked into his communicator. The voice of his tactical officer crackled with static. "Sir, something just appeared. No wormhole formation, no jump signatures. It's as if it simply materialized out of nothing." "What appeared, Lieutenant?" "A ship, sir. Design unknown. It's not broadcasting any identification signals." Coven's scales darkened to a deep blue. "Location: 5,000 kilometers off our port side, sir. Directly opposite the civilian docks." The Admiral strode to the tactical display. The holographic projection showed a vessel unlike any in Concord records. Asymmetrical, with sharp angles and matte black hull plating that seemed to absorb rather than reflect scanners. No visible propulsion systems, no obvious weapons arrays, yet its presence radiated menace. Size comparison: approximately half the length of a standard cruiser, sir, but mass readings are inconsistent. Something's interfering with our scans. Commander Ilara Voss arrived on the bridge, her exoskeleton clicking against the polished floor. The Krell officer's compound eyes took in the tactical display with practiced efficiency. "Orders, Admiral?" she asked, mandibles clicking softly. "Standard first contact protocols," Coven replied. "Full defensive screens, but no offensive posture. Let's see what we're dealing with before we escalate." Voss nodded, relaying the orders. "Transmitting greeting on all frequencies and in all Concord languages." Minutes passed with no response from the mysterious vessel. Then, without warning, the ship began to move. Not slowly or cautiously, but with sudden, deliberate precision that defied the laws of inertia. "It's accelerating toward the station," the tactical officer shouted. Coven's voice remained steady. "Track its approach. Civilian vessels to emergency sanctuary points. Defense fleet to intercept pattern Theta." 6 Concord warships moved to form a barrier between the unknown vessel and the station. Their sleek, curved hulls gleamed with charged energy fields as weapon systems locked onto the approaching target. The mysterious ship stopped abruptly, matching velocity with the lead Concord vessel. For several tense moments, nothing happened. Then a transmission burst across all frequencies, overriding encryption protocols and security filters. A human face appeared on every screen throughout the station. Male, with features suggesting East Asian ancestry, close-cropped black hair streaked with silver, and eyes that held both determination and exhaustion. "This is Captain Marcus Chen of the Earth ship Defiance," the human said in perfect Concord standard. "We come seeking justice, not war. But make no mistake, we are prepared for either." The bridge fell silent. Coven stared at the impossible face on the screen. "Humans are extinct," he said flatly. "The species died out 78 cycles ago, when their homeworld collapsed under civil war and environmental catastrophe." The human's expression hardened. That's the story you told the galaxy, isn't it? Convenient for the Concorde to erase its greatest rival by declaring them self-destructed. Your historians painted us as a cautionary tale, the species that destroyed itself through aggression and hubris. Those are historical facts, Voss interjected. The final human colony went dark 73 cycles ago. Not dark, Chen corrected. Hidden. We didn't destroy ourselves, Commander Voss. We evolved. Admiral Coven's scales flushed with anger. This is absurd. One ship against the might of the Concorde. What possible justice could you seek that would warrant such a suicidal mission? We're not alone, Chen replied calmly. And this isn't a single ship, it's a message. A reminder that humanity didn't vanish. We've been watching, learning, and remembering. On the tactical display, alerts began flashing as sensors detected energy buildups within the human vessel. Sir, the tactical officer's voice trembled. They're powering weapon systems unlike anything in our database. Chen's face showed no emotion. A demonstration seems necessary. Please observe. Before anyone could react, a pulse of energy, invisible except for the rippling distortion it created in space, shot from the Defiance toward a decommissioned satellite platform 3 kilometers from the station. The platform didn't explode or break apart. It simply ceased to exist, leaving not even debris behind. Matter conversion technology, Chen explained. We deconstruct matter at the subatomic level and harvest the released energy. That platform has become fuel for our ship. Coven's face had paled to a sickly green. Impossible. Such technology violates fundamental physics. No, Chen replied. It violates Concorde physics. Human innovation has moved beyond your scientific paradigm during our exile. Commander Voss stepped forward. What do you want, Captain Chen? The truth, accountability, and eventually, restitution. For what crimes? Coven demanded. Chen's eyes bore into the Admiral. The systematic genocide of 17 human colonies, the biological warfare against our outposts, the sabotage of Earth's climate stabilizers that left our homeworld uninhabitable, all conducted covertly by Concorde black operations while your diplomats preached peace. Coven's expression revealed nothing, but Commander Voss's compound eyes widened slightly. These are serious accusations with no evidence, Coven said dismissively. We have evidence, Chen countered. And soon, everyone will see it. The Concorde built its golden age on the ashes of humanity. That age ends today. Throughout Nexus Station, security systems began failing. Encrypted archives opened themselves. Classified documents appeared on public terminals. And on every screen, evidence of the Concorde's secret war against humanity played out in horrifying detail. In his private quarters, High Chancellor Dresnik watched the chaos unfold with cold calculation. The aged Saurian had overseen the final operations against humanity decades ago, eliminating what he had considered the greatest threat to Concorde stability. Now, somehow, they had returned. Send the elimination fleet. He commanded his personal guard. Nothing of that ship can remain. But across Nexus Station, something unexpected was happening. Officers were hesitating. Some refused orders outright. On 3 separate ships, crews locked their commanders in the brig. Commander Voss approached Admiral Coven, her weapon drawn. Is it true? She asked quietly. Did we destroy Earth? Coven's scales darkened further. For the greater good, humans were unpredictable, dangerous. Their technology was advancing too quickly. So we committed genocide, Voss said flatly, and then rewrote history. Throughout the Concorde, sleeper agents activated, not human agents, but members of various species who had long questioned the official narrative. The carefully constructed facade began crumbling faster than anyone could have predicted. Aboard the Defiance, Captain Chen watched the unfolding chaos with grim satisfaction. This was only the beginning. The first human ship had revealed itself, but hundreds more remained hidden, watching and waiting. Humanity's full return to the galactic stage would shake civilization to its core. The ghost of Earth had returned, and the Concorde would never be the same. Reckoning and revolution. The Emergency Council of the Galactic Concorde convened within the secure chambers of Nexus Station. 12 representatives of the founding species sat around a crystalline table, their faces illuminated by the soft blue glow of security fields. At the head sat High Chancellor Dresnik, ancient even by Saurian standards, his scaled skin hanging loosely from a frame that had once been imposing. "This insurrection must be crushed immediately," he rasped, clawed hands gripping his ceremonial staff. "Deploy the Sentinel fleet." Councillor Vrel, the Aquarian representative, rippled his gill membranes in agitation. "With respect, Chancellor, perhaps we should investigate these accusations first. If there's even a fraction of truth." "Truth?" Dresnik spat. "The only truth that matters is the survival of the Concorde. These humans, or whatever they claim to be, threaten everything we've built." Outside the council chambers, riots had broken out across 3 levels of Nexus Station. The information released by the human ship had spread like wildfire, impossible to contain. Species that had suffered similar historical adjustments at the hands of the Concorde began questioning everything they'd been told. In her quarters, Commander Ilara Voss reviewed classified files she downloaded before security locked them down again. What she found sickened her. Not just the systematic elimination of human colonies, but the calculated rewriting of history that followed. Entire Krell hive memories had been chemically altered to accept the new narrative. Her communicator chimed with an encrypted signal. "Commander Voss," came Captain Chen's voice. "Have you seen enough?" She hesitated. "How did you get this channel?" "The same way we accessed everything else. Your encryption technology hasn't evolved significantly in decades. We've had plenty of time to study it." Voss's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of Krell distress. "The files suggest an organized campaign against Earth spanning nearly 30 years. But why? Humans were welcomed into the Concorde initially. Until we started advancing too quickly," Chen replied. "The incident at Proxima Colony was the turning point, when our researchers developed the first prototype quantum communicator, violating the Concorde's carefully controlled technological development timeline." Voss had just read about Proxima Colony. According to official records, it had been destroyed by a containment failure in their energy production facility. According to the hidden files, Concorde Black Ops had introduced a cascading nanovirus into the colony's systems. 8,000 civilians, she whispered, for developing a communication system. The Concorde, specifically the inner circle around Dresnik, feared any technology that could threaten their control. They determined that humanity's innovation rate was unpredictable and dangerous. Across Nexus Station, more officers like Voss were making similar discoveries. The immaculate facade of the Concorde was cracking, revealing rot beneath. In orbit, the situation had become a standoff. 6 Concorde warships surrounded the Defiance, weapons hot but not firing. No one wanted to give the order after witnessing what happened to the satellite platform. Then, without warning, 5 Sentinel-class dreadnoughts emerged from hyperspace. The Chancellor's personal fleet, ships whose very existence was classified. "All vessels, this is Grand Admiral Thrix," boomed a voice across all channels. "By direct order of the High Chancellor, destroy the human vessel immediately. Full weapons release authorized." Captain Chen's face showed no surprise as he watched the massive dreadnoughts move into attack formation. This was part of the plan. Force the Concorde to reveal its true nature. "All Concorde personnel," he broadcast. "What you are witnessing is the continuation of a policy that began with Earth's destruction. The same leaders who erased humanity are now willing to sacrifice you to keep their secrets. But we didn't come here to start another war." The Defiance's hull began to shimmer, and then, impossibly, the ship simply disappeared from visual and sensor detection. "Active phase shift technology," Chen's voice continued from nowhere and everywhere. "Another innovation from the species you were told destroyed itself." The Sentinel dreadnoughts opened fire, their energy weapons cutting through empty space where the Defiance had been. Moments later, alarms blared as 3 of the massive ships reported critical systems failures, not destroyed, but suddenly inoperable. Chen's voice remained calm. We could have eliminated those vessels completely. Remember that. On the bridge of the lead Sentinel dreadnought, Grand Admiral Thrix roared in frustration. Track that ship. Deploy quantum resonance scans. Sir, his tactical officer replied, we're detecting multiple phase shift signatures now. They're everywhere. Throughout the Nexus system, sensor ghosts appeared and disappeared. Not just one human ship, but dozens, perhaps hundreds, moving through Concord defenses as if they weren't there. In the council chambers, Dresnik received the news with cold fury. He activated a private channel to a hidden facility deep within Nexus Station. Initiate Protocol Omega, he ordered. The humans have forced my hand. In her quarters, Commander Voss received an urgent message from a junior officer, a Tyranni, one of the few species known to have shared distant ancestry with humans. Commander, I've detected unusual energy signatures beneath Central Administration. It matches nothing in our database, but the radiation pattern suggests a planet-killer weapon. Voss's compound eyes widened. Oh, what? The signature matches theoretical models for matter-antimatter annihilation on a massive scale. If triggered here, it would destroy not just Nexus Station, but half the system, Voss finished. She had to make a choice, and quickly. Her communicator activated again. Commander, Chen's voice was urgent now. Our sensors have detected a doomsday device activation sequence. Dresnik is going to sacrifice the entire station rather than face exposure. How can I help? She asked without hesitation. We need someone on the inside to give us access to the central core. We can neutralize the device, but not from outside the station's shields. Throughout Nexus Station, the truth continued to spread. Riots became organized resistance as more evidence emerged of the Concorde's true history, not just the campaign against humanity, but similar operations against other species deemed potentially destabilizing. Commander Voss moved through maintenance tunnels, leading a small team of officers who had joined her cause. The central core was the most heavily protected area of the station, and for good reason, it now seemed. You realize this is treason, said Lieutenant Krell, a fellow Krell who had served with Voss for years. The real treason happened decades ago, Voss replied, when our leaders decided they had the right to eliminate an entire species. They reached the core access only to find it heavily guarded by Dresnik's personal security force, Saurians armed with disintegration rifles. We need a distraction, Voss whispered. As if on cue, the station rocked with a series of controlled explosions far from their position. The security teams received urgent communications, and half their number rushed away. Your human friends? Lieutenant Krell asked. I didn't request that, Voss replied, perplexed. A maintenance panel beside them slid open, revealing a human female with dark skin and close-cropped white hair. No, but we anticipated you'd need help. Commander Neve Zhang, Earth Special Operations. Voss stared in shock. You've had agents on the station. All this time. Zhang nodded grimly. For decades, sleeper agents, deep cover operatives, sympathizers we've recruited. Today is the culmination of a plan 80 years in the making. With Zhang's help, they neutralized the remaining guards and gained access to the central core. There, humming with ominous energy, stood a device unlike anything Voss had ever seen. A black crystalline structure surrounded by pulsing fields of dark energy. The Void Heart, Zhang explained. Antimatter technology the Concorde supposedly banned centuries ago. Hypocritical, like so much else. While Zhang worked to disarm the device, Voss's communicator activated with an open channel broadcast. High Chancellor Dresnik's voice echoed throughout the station. Citizens of the Concorde, we are under attack by forces that seek to destabilize our peaceful society. These terrorist elements, human infiltrators and their sympathizers, have spread lies about our history. Do not be deceived. The Concorde stands for order and prosperity. Aboard the Defiance, now visible again and hovering directly before the main observation deck of Nexus Station, Captain Chen made a decision. With a nod to his communications officer, the largest data package yet was transmitted across all Concorde systems, not just evidence of the campaign against Earth, but personal logs from Dresnik himself, spanning decades. The Chancellor's own words condemned him more thoroughly than any human accusation could have. In the council chambers, the other 11 counselors watched in horror as their leader's secret communications played before them. Dresnik's contempt for the other species, his vision of Saurian dominance, his willing sacrifice of entire populations to maintain control, all laid bare. Councillor Vrel was the first to speak. By the authority vested in this council, I move for the immediate removal of Chancellor Dresnik and a full investigation into these allegations. The vote was unanimous. When security forces entered the Chancellor's private chambers, they found him gone, escaped through a secret passage that led to a hidden shuttle bay. But his retreat was short-lived. As his cloaked shuttle attempted to slip past the Concorde blockade, it found itself surrounded by phase-shifted human vessels that appeared from nowhere. Chancellor Dresnik, Captain Chen's voice came through on a private channel. You once decided that humanity was too dangerous to exist. Today you learn how right you were. The shuttle was not destroyed. Instead, it was captured in a containment field and brought aboard the Defiance, a much more fitting fate for the architect of humanity's near extinction. In the aftermath, as the immediate crisis subsided, representatives from the human fleet were invited to Nexus Station for formal diplomatic talks. Captain Chen and a small delegation walked through corridors where, just days before, their existence had been considered impossible. In the Grand Assembly Hall, Chen faced the newly reorganized Concorde Council. Commander Voss had been appointed interim security director during the transition, and she stood to the side, still processing all that had occurred. The fleet you've glimpsed is just a fraction of our forces, Chen explained to the stunned council. When Earth fell, billions died, but millions escaped. We established hidden colonies beyond Concorde space, developed technologies in isolation, and waited. Not for revenge, but for justice. And now that Dresnik is removed, Councillor Vrel asked, what does humanity want? Recognition, restitution for what was taken from us, and most importantly, reform. The Concorde was founded on noble principles that were betrayed by those who valued control over cooperation. We believe those original ideals are worth salvaging. The negotiations would take months, but the foundation was laid that day. The species that had been erased from history returned not as conquerors, but as the conscience of a galactic civilization that had lost its way. Commander Voss approached Captain Chen as the formal proceedings concluded. What happens now? She asked. After 80 years of preparation, your mission is accomplished. Chen looked out at the stars visible through the vast viewports. This was never about revenge, Commander. It was about truth. Now the real work begins, building something better together. Beyond Nexus Station, more human ships emerged from phase shift. Dozens, then hundreds. Their designs varied, but all bearing the same insignia. A phoenix rising from a stylized Earth. The ghosts of a forgotten world had returned to reshape the galaxy, not through destruction, but through the most human quality of all, the capacity to forgive without forgetting. The Concorde would evolve, or it would fade, but humanity was here to stay.